So guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be discussing the results from the World Tour Finals 2025. And my God, talk about drama, upsets, and everything in between really, and overperformances, underperformances. Yeah, it was a crazy show. Honestly, I think they should rename it to what the fuck instead of World Tour Finals. That's what the WTF should actually stand for after watching this. Anyway, let's get right into it. So, first event, we had the max log press. So we had the World Log Lift Challenge. Matej went out there. He managed to do 180 kilos and actually tweaked his Achilles. And then he went over to Laz talking after, and they kind of discussed with the events coming up that it wasn't worth doing the full show. And looking at it now on paper, considering we had the load and drag and the load and push, it wouldn't have been worth it. It would have been very dangerous. So he is preparing for next year's comps, possibly the Arnolds and some other ones after that. So on from that, then we had Gavin Bilton, who unfortunately missed the 190 kilo log. So the Welsh record still currently stands at 187 kilos. I think he will definitely get that in the future though. Gav is just gone from strength to strength since he started with Dam Hipkiss. They're doing very well as a coach and client, I will say. So moving on from that, then we had Luke Richardson mentioned to get 190 kilos, just about. Tom giving a bit of encouragement. He missed it the first time, had to go for it the second time. Then on from that, we had Tom Stoltman hitting 200 kilos, making it look very easy, wobbly, but still went up like really fast. Then he went on for 210 kilos, narrowly missed out on it. I saw they showed him backstage taking some smelling salts and going out. I know from my own experience, when I take smelling salts, I can just feel a bit kind of all over the place, and it's hard to you feel adrenaline, but sometimes it's hard to kind of focus that adrenaline. And I think he came out, he was so psyched up that he flew up with the clean, and then he was trying to push it up and it just wasn't going. Watching it back now, I think his stance was a little bit too wide. I don't think he was getting enough leg drive because his legs were out a bit too wide. So that kind of cost him. So being honest, a small bit disappointing because Tom has done 210 in the past. His log in training, and anytime I've seen him do it, just looks really good. Like, he's definitely capable, I think, on a good day, around probably 215-ish. I think he's capable of doing that. So by right, Tom should have got that. But look, is what it is. On to Andre Faitu then. He hit the junior world record at 220 kilos, which we will show here.
He said in his VT earlier tonight, I'm up from Czechia. His last opportunity to get this, and he would love to get it technically accurate.
Then on to Jack Osborne hitting the British record, 222 kilos, which we will show here.
British record. Come on, Jack. Real high roll. Osborne, quickly looking at balance.
And then we had, straight after that, Jack going for the world record and failing it, unfortunately. So Jack only came for the log press, which meant that Andre was now in first place in this event, Tom coming second. So to be fair, Tom missing the 210 didn't actually make a difference to his points anyway, because nobody else had gotten 200, so he was already clear in second. So luckily it didn't affect the rest of the show. But just as a fan, I feel like, you should have tidied that up a small bit and been able to get it. But look, is what it is, not a huge deal. After that event, we had Andre Faitu in first with 13 points, Tom in second with 12, and Luke Richardson was tied third, three-way tie on 10 points. So then into the load and push event, we had Luke Richardson taking the win. I'd actually predicted that, so hooray for me. He got 49.52 seconds. So just to remind you again with the load and push, it was basically a 150 kilo sandbag, I believe 120 kilo anvil and 100 kilo tire. They had to load all of these then into basically a skip, like a giant wheelbarrow. So when they were loading these, then they had to go out, I think it was 10 meters for the anvil, 15 for the tire, and then 20 for the sandbag. And then run down a 20-meter course then with the skip full of all those implements, which is a very taxing event. Like, speed is obviously really important, but your endurance is key here. You need to have decent cardio for this. So Luke taking the win there at 49.52, Andrew Flynn on 49.58, and Evans Nana on 51.21 points, or seconds, sorry. And then after that, we had Callum Crozier in fourth with 41.43, Ryan Bennett on 51.58, and Tom Stoltman way down in sixth at 51.91. Now, I will say in Tom's defence, the times here were very, very close. There was actually 4 people between Evans Nana in third and Tom in sixth. There was 0.7 of a second separating them. So that just shows you how tight it was. But in fairness, watching Tom here, he looked quite slow. Like, he came out when he ran towards the anvil, like, he kind of really took his time getting to it, and like, he paced himself, but at the same time, like, the guys were just so much faster. Like, I genuinely think if he saw Mitchell Hooper beside him, he would have sped up a bit. Do you know what I mean? I think it was like he never came out of second gear in that event. And unfortunately that landed him then in sixth place, because the guys who were winning this event and getting near the top were really, really quick. So after that event then, that meant in points, Luke Richardson was now in the lead with 23 points. Andre Faitu and Tom Stoltman were then tied for second on 20 points. So by no means out of the runs yet. Like, there was still some good events coming for Tom. So plenty of time to make up some ground. Luke Richardson having a great old time there in first place. So yeah, then into the carry and drag. So another kind of medley type event. The carry and drag here was a 250 kilo duck walk that they had to carry. I think it was 20 meters, 15 or 20 meters. Then they had to drop that and drag a 350 kilo anvil anchor all the ways back then. And the anchor had to clear the line completely. So it was more like probably 23 meters as opposed to 20 meters back. So a tough event, especially with the drag, like, your legs going to be burning towards the end of it. A little bit similar to the sled drag that I was doing when I did my Way of Worlds competition recently. So taking the win there, surprisingly, was Evans Nana with 28.35 seconds. I was really surprised by Evans here to take the win. Not surprised he did well, but taking the win I really didn't expect. I had actually predicted Tom to probably take the win on this. Tom, or, well, at the time it was probably Matej, but Matej is out. So I was thinking more than likely Tom because of the size of him. So Evans took the win there. Absolutely dominated there. Just so fast. And he's super conditioned as well. His fitness is so good. Then Luke Richardson second, just not dropping any points. 29.85 seconds. Andrew Flynn on 31.51 seconds. And then we had Maxime Boudreau on 32.42 seconds. Then who was after that? James, let me see. James Jeffers actually came fifth here with 33.90. To be quite honest, that didn't surprise me that much, because I saw James in training, I think this was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. He did a duck walk, and he just looked so fast at that part of the medley. So I predicted him to do fairly well. So I think coming fifth was great performance, especially in this lineup. Then we had Andre Faitu in sixth and Tom Stoltman down in seventh place. So this was really where, like, the competition was starting to slip away from Tom a bit. Watching him, there was no major mistakes he was making throughout. Like, very similar to Load Medley. He didn't actually make any mistakes. It was just, he was going too slowly. Like, he was being very, very careful you know, and like I kind of saw towards the end of the ankle drag, like the legs were burning up for Tom a bit, and there's two factors there. Number one, like I like that started slowing him down a bit, but he kept going. Number one, I think the fitness wasn't there for it, and number two, like I don't think again that he was coming out of like second gear the whole comp, in those two events anyway, and like it really cost him, because like on these types of events, like we're at a point now in pro strongman where like nobody's really slow anymore. Like you don't have people in events where like the only people that you might be able to beat, Joe, loading medleys, things like that, you can't be looking at thinking, oh, they'll be near the bottom now. Let's say in a finals of World's Strongest Man or something, would be the likes of a Trey Mitchell or an Austin Andrade. Do you know what I mean? But like, aside from them lads, that's not a dig towards them, by the way. Like, they're still super fast and super strong, but like, especially in a Giants Live lineup like this, where you have a lot of new guys that aren't necessarily huge guys, they can run fucking fast and their fitness is good. So like, if you're not going hell for leather in these events, like you're dropping major points. And this unfortunately is what happened for Tom. Like he didn't even make a mistake. He was just moving way too slow. But I could see after this, he just looked a bit gassed, and I was just thinking his fitness just didn't seem like it was there for this comp. And watching this comp, it was really fast paced as well. Like they had a very quick turnaround from the loading medleys, and from the loading medley into the wrecking ball hold as well. So in overall placings then, after event 3, we had Luke Richardson clear on 35 points, Evans Nana on 29.5, and Andrew Flynn on 28.5. And Tom was on 27 points, I believe, down in 5th. So he was way back from the lead at this point, going into an event that historically hasn't had the best time on, which was the wrecking ball holds. So for the wrecking ball holds, first place, we had Andrew Flynn on 91.75 seconds. So for reference, that's like 1 minute and 31 seconds. Andre Faitu, just about 0.4 of a second back on 91.37. And Evans Nana on 79.81. Callum Crozier was 4th on 77.58. And Luke Richardson was 5th on 73.45. Now, again, just for reference on this particular event, I will say with the grip holds in general, Hercules hold, anything to do with grip, aside from farmers, people just seem to be so much better these days at them. Like, if you watched a Giants Live in like 2021 and you saw a wrecking ball hold like this, the chances of anyone going beyond 1 minute and 10 seconds, aside from Mark Felix, were very slim. Like, let's say if you got like 1 minute and 10, back in that time, that might have been good for second, assuming Mark was there, or third maybe. 1 minute and 10 in this comp got you 6th, 7th. It's like mid-table, which is bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Unfortunately, I had a prediction here with the wrecking ball hold for Oleg to take the win. He actually took last. So, yeah, I was a small bit off with that one. Tom Stoutman was in 10th with 48.27 seconds. Now, in fairness to Tom, aside from the placing, he actually did reasonably well in this event. Like 48.27 for Tom is a pretty decent time, and you could tell by watching him, like he was kind of taking it down to the wire. I would argue he maybe could have held on another 2 seconds, maybe. Similar to myself, Jesus Christ, with the grip hold in fucking Way Worlds, but like he probably could have held on for another like 2 seconds, which, in fairness to Tom, normally he'd give up a lot sooner. So I was quite surprised to see him push that hard. But just the standard was just so ridiculous. Like 2 guys getting over 1.5 minutes, it's just insane. So yeah, so after that event then, wrecking ball hold, we Luke Richardson on 44 points, Andrew Flynn on 41.5, Evans Nana on 40.5, and Andre Faitu on 40. Then a good jump behind there. Tom was now on 31 points in 5th place going into the last event. So the top 4 guys were very tight. There was only 4 points separating 1st to 4th, and in the podium then, I think it was only 3.5 points separating them, something like that. So like it really was all to play for at that point. So into the Castle Stones. Now, this was the event where Tom decided to actually wake up. And Tom went out, absolutely smoked everyone in there with 23.52 seconds on the Castle Stones, and took first place. Second place then was Andre Faitu, of all people, on 29.16. Andre has made massive improvements on his Atlas Stones. To come second to Tom Stoltman in Atlas Stones is absolutely insane. Fair play to him for that. Like, for ages, because I remember it was coming into last event, and the first thought that went through my mind looking at those four guys was like, well, Andre won't be second anyway. Definitely not second. Probably not even third, because this is a bad event for him. Stones are bad. Whereas I was like, Evans is pretty good, Andrew is decent, and I'd imagine they're both better than Andre. But my God, Andre really proved me wrong there. Fair play to him. Gav Bilton taking third, 29.48 seconds, so just getting under the 30 mark. Gavin looked class this whole competition. Like, even I watched him on the load and push. I forget exactly where he placed. I think he might have been just one behind Tom or something, like 6th or 7th or something in the load and push. And he just looked really good. His fitness has improved a lot. He's around 174 kilos body weight at the moment, so he's, that's fairly lean for Gav. Like, he's looking strong, he's looking fit, he's looking fast. And he's really motivated to like win the big titles in the future, he was saying as well. So really excited to see how Gav gets on. And I think Dan Hipkiss is a great coach for him. Like, they really seem to be doing some really good work. So absolutely delighted for Gav there. Then in fourth place, we had Luke Richardson, not for the overall comp. This is for Castle Stone results now, just to remind you. So in fourth on the Stones, Luke with 31.03. I wouldn't say slow and steady. He was going fast, but you could tell he was being calculated as well, not to make any mistakes. James Jeffers then taken fifth in this event as well. So that's 2 times he came fifth overall here with 34.78 seconds. Very good performance on the Castle Stones as well. James is definitely one to watch out for in the future as well. Like, he's certain moving events and stones, things like that, he's really good. He just needs to make some improvements on the other ones, and he's definitely one to keep an eye on. Then in sixth place, we had Andrew Flynn. Now, in fairness to Andrew, he actually dropped the 120 at the very start and had to go pick it up and go again, and still managed to come sixth, which is a feat in and of itself. Then in ninth place, we had Evans Nana. Very unfortunate there. He was flying through the first 4 stones, and then he dropped the 200 kilo stone on his ankle, and he actually went over, rolled it back, because it rolled well away from him. He rolled it back and tried to get it up again, and unfortunately just couldn't do it. But yeah, I think that probably cost him the podium there as well. So that one has to suck. Tough luck for Evans there, but outside of that, though, what a performance by Evans Nana, taking an event win as well. He just did really, really good all around. So, for the overall placings of the competition, we had Luke Richardson taking the win with 54 points, Andre Faitu in second place, 52 points, and Andrew Flynn in third place of 49.5. Then we had Evans Nana a few points back, 45.5, fourth place, and Tom Stoltman on 44 points in fifth. So, first of all, with Luke Richardson, all I have to say is, I told you so. So many people were not thinking Luke was going to take the win overall. There was actually a lot of people didn't even think he'd make podium, which I was surprised by. Like, I saw the Lallis brothers, I think overall they thought he was going to come like fifth or something. And I was just looking, I was going like, how have you come to that conclusion? Like, and I suppose they probably would have been thinking there's a high likelihood he gets injured, and then they were thinking he's just going to drop points there. Maybe that's where they were coming from. But like, a lot of people were all just thinking, well, Tom's here, he's won Worlds 3 times, he's going to win this. But like, I told you, lads, I told you he wouldn't do it. Now, in fairness, I did think he would come second. I really thought he would come second. So to see him off podium was very surprising for me. But then Andre Faitu, I never predicted him. I'll be honest, I didn't even think Andre would be in the top 5. I didn't even think he'd be in the top 5. So for him to come second, fair play. Andrew as well, I thought he might be in the top 5 now, to be fair. But him making third place there as well. Serious performance by him there. So very good comp, very, very entertaining. And just to go off on Luke Richardson there for a second, he mentioned this at the end of the competition. When he is not injured, there's a high likelihood he'll win a competition. The stats do show this is the case. You can look it up if you don't believe me. When the man is not injured, he is likely to either win it or podium. He's a very, very solid strongman. I was saying in my predictions, he seems so confident in himself and he's not afraid of injuring himself anymore. He's literally said he doesn't care if he tears his bicep 10 more times before winning Worlds. He's going to keep doing it until he wins Worlds. And I think that's the mindset he needs, really. And the proof is in the pudding here. It is working for him, clearly. So he officially has an invite. Well, he already had an invite to Worlds anyway because of Europe's. But I think if, God forbid, touch wood, that he comes in injury-free to World's Strongest Man, dare I say it? I won't say it yet. I will say he's definitely capable of making finals and he's definitely capable of making top 5 of Worlds in his current condition. I 100% believe that. I believe that in time, if he carries on the way he's going, he will win Worlds. I just think he will stop at nothing to win it. So, yeah. So keep an eye out for Luke Richardson, guys. The future is now. Outside of that. Yeah, so just to go through the Tom Stogan situation. Now, we've discussed a lot of it already, but Tom needs to wake up, right? And I say this because he came into a competition, right? Fair enough, little notice, his main focus in the Rogue, all that, right? But he came into a competition where there was no Mitch Hooper, there was no Lucas Hatton, there was no Evan Singleton, there was no Thor Bjornsson, there was no Trey Mitchell. All of these really big names in the sport who can beat Tom on different events weren't there, right? His main opposition realistically was Matej and Luke, right? Matej more so than Luke, I would have said, in this lineup. And in a competition like that, where outside of those guys, you have a lot of people, and I don't mean this as any disrespect to them, but in the pro scene of strongman, they would be mid-table guys. I would have normally ranked the likes of, not so much Andre Faitu now, I think he'd be touching the upper echelons, kind of pushing into the top 10 region, definitely top 15. But would say the likes of an Andrew Flynn and an Evans Nana, I would view them as, on the pro scene, as mid-table guys, right? And to get beat by guys like that, and Andre as well, right? It's just what are you doing? How have you allowed this to happen? It just doesn't make sense. Now, I will say the lads performed brilliantly. Luke was just on fire the whole comp. Andre did amazing. Even on his weakest event, he turned that into a strength. So fair play to him for that. He was a hard guy to beat regardless. But as a 3 times World's Strongest Man, this is just it isn't good enough. Do you know what I mean? For the level that you've competed at, for the level that Tom has competed at, this is just not the standard that we should be expecting. In that type of lineup, he should be nowhere lower than second. Nowhere lower than second. The fact that he was off podium actually shocked me, to be honest. And it was mainly, I had a feeling something like that might happen, especially when I saw how poorly he was doing the loading events. Now, just to give Tom a small bit of credit, his main focus is the Rogue at the minute, right? Main focus is the Rogue. It's in about 2 weeks. He obviously doesn't want to injure himself. He hasn't trained these events, obviously. He probably, the stones he would have been training, because they have to do stone lifting in the Rogue. Log, I can't remember. I need to check the events. But his overhead would be strong anyway from the Rogue events and the stones. But to do that poorly is just like what I couldn't understand was when I was watching him, it was like he wasn't coming out of second gear for about 2/3 of the comp. And as a Stoltman fan, it's difficult to watch because, like, in the grand scheme of things, like this whole year, bar Worlds, he's done pretty poorly in most comps. Like, I think he was he seventh in the Arnold's, sixth or seventh or something. I forget. He was way back, and like strongman Earth, no, fair enough. He'd the bicep he was dealing with there, but seventh there as well. And you'd be thinking after that, surely if he's coming into another comp, he'd want to just absolutely bury any doubts, and just come in and just blitz it. Like home ground, it wasn't like travel was an issue. It wasn't like time zone was an issue, and like everyone there supporting him, and he comes fifth as the 3-time world's strongest man. He's the only one in that lineup with a world title, let alone 3 of them. So it was just like, what's going on here? Like, I just being completely honest now, I genuinely think that we'll say the promoters and things like that, like they need to be a bit more critical with Tom, I think, because like he'll come in and people are constantly kind of going behind him and being like, he's a great strongman, like he never gives up and all this. And like, no, like he does. We've seen this before, as of recent anyway. But if you go back to like what frustrates me about him is if you go back to like 2023 Strongest Man Earth, he came, I think it was like 10th or something in event 1 on the log press, right? On day 1. And then he managed to work his way back. He won, I think, like 4 events in that comp. Work his way back to podium from coming 10th in an event. Like, and that was the time where I saw Tom. And like, this is when Hooper was kind of early enough in the game as well, but also starting to dominate. Like, he really just he just dug deep and pushed through the whole comp. I did not see one bit of that in him in this comp. Not one bit motivated. Like, not one bit kind of determined to be like, I'm going to push for the win here. It was just like, oh, well, that event was like, okay, I came with tables. Oh, well, yeah. Like, it's just, what? Like, I don't know. Like, especially with these guys that managed to beat him, I was just kind of thinking, like, why are you, like, letting these guys come ahead of you because you're not arsed to push hard enough? I couldn't understand it. And, like, I personally think that the fitness side of things, he needs to work on a small bit as well, because I saw a video he had with, who was it? It was this British Army officer guy, and they were doing like this fitness test, himself and Luke. And Luke, no, in fairness, some of these things were bodyweight, but Luke absolutely smoked him in almost every like little competition they had. And I was just like, how are you this unfit? Like, I've seen you so much fitter. Now I know he's putting on weight to be stronger for the Rogue, but like, his fitness shouldn't be that bad for the standard that he's at. To just like, if he wants to be like one of the greatest strongmen of all time, which I know he's going to be, he needs to be putting his head down and working hard in the competitions outside of Worlds. Worlds is great. We know he's amazing there. Like, he did absolutely class this year. But if you're coming in then with, 5 out of 10 effort in all these other comps, and like any inconvenience happens and there's like, oh, like, what's the point then? Like, look, I'm only saying this now as a Stoltman fan. I want to see Tom do better because I know he can do better. He's done better in the past. He's probably in ways right now, he's probably the strongest he's ever been. But he just needs to switch on a bit more mentally. He needs to work on his fitness a small bit, but mentally he just needs to stay a bit more in the zone. He just seems a bit kind of wishy-washy recently. So, Tom, if you're watching this, I don't mean disrespect by what I've said about you, but please just like lock in for these next few comps now, because if you want to be one of the greatest of all time, you have to switch on for these comps. Anyway, guys, that was a really long rant. A lot of people are going to be looking at this being like, oh, I'm so mean. I've such hate for Tom Stoltman and all this. I really don't. I just want the best out of him. And I think there's very few people that are kind of, giving him a little kind of kick up the backside saying like, come on, like, you need to switch on here and just go. So that's my opinion on the whole thing. So yeah, guys, If you liked the video, leave a like, leave a comment, share it around, subscribe, click the bell icon, and we will see you guys later.